And so I started Temperature Matters because I thought that temperature does matter, right, in everything we do. So I try to write as much as I can and be involved in as much as I can, and promote, the temperature mapping, the validation, the compliance type information.
Please welcome Nathan Roman from the United States. Hello Nathan, welcome to Egypt. Hello everyone, welcome back to the ValiHub podcast. I'm really glad to be here with you again. Thank you all for your comments and likes on LinkedIn and Facebook for the Alireza episode. A special thanks to our audience in Germany for watching. Today we have an expert in validation, actually, who inspired me a lot to start the ValiHub and the newsletter and all my stuff on LinkedIn and Facebook. Please welcome Nathan Roman from the United States. Hello, Nathan. Welcome to Egypt.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot. Thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate you accept my invitation. And I'm really very happy that you are with me today. And I hope we will do the best for the audience who will hear us.
Absolutely. Appreciate it.
Okay. First, we want to know more about your education, your college, your background. So the mic is all yours.
All right. I'll do my best. Again, thanks for having me. I look forward to these types of exchanges, just being able to share a little bit about who I am and where I've come from. First off, I have to say that if you would have told me years ago that my career would have taken me from where I started, from designing drawings, drafting AutoCAD drawings, to leading marketing and brand strategy in the life science industry, I would have thought you were crazy. But that's the beauty of life, the journey that we're on. There's always unexpected challenges and opportunities, right, that shape who we become. I started my career as an AutoCAD draftsman. So I was focused on mechanical engineering, design drawings, 3D models when that was a new thing. And it was a weekend project that my uncle actually took me on. And it was a bit of a detour from what I had typically been working on, which was AutoCAD. But he introduced me into this world of validation. And from that moment, everything had changed. I had stepped into a field that was, as many of you guys watching, listening may know, is rigorous, is complex, is an independent type of activities that we do, but incredibly rewarding. And since then, I never looked back. But my academic journey has certainly been as diverse as my career. So mechanical engineering at LTRI-C, computer science at Lancaster Bible College, graphic design at Allentown Business School, and I completed an executive leadership program at Cornell University, plus many other trainings and professional certifications that we do to continue and better ourselves over the years. But that blend of the technical and the creative, which is basically what makes me, I'm a technical and a creative individual. That strategic learning has absolutely shaped how I approach my problem solving or even my storytelling on the types of posts and the types of content that I create for the industry.
Nathan, but how how did you notice that this is the thing that I will do, the validation? You said that you are come from a background, from a mechanical background, AutoCAD and drawing. I think it's a little bit different from the validation. How
Yep.
this?
So, all right. So I guess the way I've explained it in the past to individuals is, for those of us who are in validation right now, we have to have, I believe, this is how I've trained my folks, and I've hired individuals for my teams. They have to have a mechanical background. Like, you have to be able to understand how things work. Mechanically minded. When you go out into the field, and you're executing a protocol, whether it's walking down a P&ID with piping or HVAC ductwork, or you're just verifying tags in a facility for a protocol, you're mechanically minded. You're thinking about where the valve is going to be put. You're thinking about where the piping goes. So it's just that type of mentality. And so with the AutoCAD side, the background that I had, absolutely, I was dealing with creating those drawings, right? I was creating the P&IDs in the past. So I already had an understanding of how the drawings worked, how the mechanics of things worked. And so going into validation, it's definitely not a connected. It's not like you're in mechanical engineering and next step is validation. No, definitely not. I believe it has everything to do with the people your opportunities, your experiences that you have in life. And that's just the path it took me on. Lots of individuals that I know are still doing CAD work, design work, but my path led me into validation, and I think it had everything to do with the individuals I knew at the time and just my place. But it connected with my train of thought, my understanding of how things worked.
Yes, interesting. Actually, this is a very, very interesting journey, Nathan. I really appreciate it, and I'm really, for me, actually, when I started to work as a validation engineer, it was something, and like you, I came from a mechanical background. And all of my colleagues worked in HVAC, in firefighting, in plumbing, in AutoCAD,
Okay.
in maintenance of some equipment in some factories in oil and gas. But when I picked this field, I feel like I do something for people. It's something very, very helpful to patient, as I'm a validation engineer now in a pharmaceutical company. So it's like I see it, it's like I deliver the medicine for them, and I'm really happy because I deliver it safely for them. If I do my job well, you know what I mean? So
That's
it's
right.
a really, really motivation for me. And I hope all of my colleagues that work in the same field, in validation area, see this thing in the same perspective that I saw before. But very well.
Yeah, that's really good that you have come to that realization already. It took me many years to figure that out, or to feel that, what you're feeling, because in the beginning, when I started, it was all just, it was paperwork, it was executing, it was filling things out.
Yes, exactly.
But it was years and years later that I ended up working at a government hospital, and this facility required, it had the HVAC, it had all the equipment that needed, PM work, temperature mapping, qualification, but they had labs there. It was a research hospital, and they had a pharmacy, they had research labs, and it was a working hospital, so that when you showed up to work, like you and I would show up with our binders to go execute a protocol, But as we're passing people in the hallway, we're passing patients. We're passing real individuals that are going to be treated there. And so you start to make that correlation and think, what I'm doing here isn't just filling out a paperwork for my boss. It's I'm performing these studies to verify that this equipment or the medicine is in a state of compliance or meets the quality regulations for these people that I'm passing. That, you know, so it really did drive the message home.
Okay, very well. Back to your LinkedIn profile. I use it to make this podcast and to know how to dig deep in your career. And I noticed that you work for about 5 or 6 companies along your career journey. Tell me more about this experience, Nathan.
Sure. So in the beginning, when I started in this industry, I've always been a consultant. And what I mean by that is there was only maybe 1 or 2 companies that I actually in my career worked for that was an operating company. But all my other experience has been a consultant, has been in working for some of these companies that you had seen on my LinkedIn profile, you know, the Azure Groups or the Dane Zimmerman or the man, I'd have to go look. There's a bunch of others, but
Life Sciences and
Life Sciences.
I think.
Yeah. So the way it worked was that, so in America, sometimes, if it's sad, but sometimes if you want to get ahead or move forward, advance your career, you have to go somewhere. You have to go somewhere else at times. So I found myself early on in my career that if I wasn't being valued or if my position wasn't going to progress any further, then I had to move on, right? So nowadays, there's a shortage of us validation engineers out there. There is.
Yes.
So it's
tough in the whole world, I think.
Yeah. So it's absolutely tough for a company to lose people. That's why they really should try their best to hold on to people that are good people.
Yes.
But yeah. So there's lots of different companies there because I've definitely moved up through the years. And I would say about 2007 is when it started to slow down, because that's when my cousins and I had started a validation company, and
really,
that was about.
That's new information for me. Okay.
So you see the company on my profile called Azure Group?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that company used to be Validation Inc., and that was my cousins and my company. And what happened is we started in 2007, and about 3 years later, we merged with another a computer system validation company, and the two of us became Azure Group.
Okay.
Right. So now I had left Azure Group in 2017, so it's been a little while since I've been with them, but I was about a decade of my life was dedicated to building and growing and creating opportunities for individuals at Validation Inc. / Azure Group.
Interesting, Nathan. And what about Temperature Matters newsletter? Why did you start?
So, good question. Thanks. A couple years ago, my cousin Tommy, I still communicate with my cousins, that the ones that we started the company with. We still communicate every day, of course. And I was talking to him, and I had said that I think that I want to provide more training, provide more education about something. And so basically, I picked one thing. I could have picked anything. I could have picked, risk assessment. I could have picked HVAC. I could have picked something in our industry that we execute, but I picked temperature mapping because it was something that, you and I, we could probably do with our eyes closed. But, so I stuck with one topic. And so I started creating content on LinkedIn and talking about all the different aspects of temperature mapping, equipment qualification, what's in a protocol, IQ, OQ, PQ, placing the sensors, how many sensors, all this kind of this information. Well, I started the newsletter because at the time I was following different individuals on LinkedIn myself, and I was learning, how do you market yourself? How do you brand yourself? And one of the ways was you provide free content out there for folks like yourself to download, to read, to use. And then when you get to a certain point of awareness, start a newsletter, right? And so I started Temperature Matters because I thought that temperature does matter, right, in everything we do. So I just started writing content, and I got to be honest, it is difficult to keep up every week to write new stuff.
Very, very difficult. Very difficult. Yeah.
And have it ready every Saturday morning. I find myself sometimes having to wake up early Saturday morning, and I gotta get to it. But
actually, Nathan, this newsletter inspires me a lot. Actually, from the starting of the first newsletter on my LinkedIn profile, which was called Validation Insights Hub, and then I moved to the ValiHub page on LinkedIn as a company page, and then I start to say, why not we could make some episodes with some professionals in the industry in Arabic voice, because there's I think, I don't know, but I think I'm only the one person in Egypt or in the Arab country who did podcast in Arabic, talks about validation in pharmaceutical, and many likes and comments and private messages I received that you did a good job. Continue, move on. Yeah. And actually that all of what I have today is because you inspired me. You inspired me a lot. No.
You did it.
Actually, no. Actually, yes. And I have to say that no one in Egypt in the pharmaceutical or works as a validation engineer or validation specialist who have a LinkedIn profile don't know Nathan Roman and Temperature Matters, even in Egypt, here in Egypt,
Okay.
So you did a good job. You really did a good job, Nathan. Thank you a lot, actually. Well, Nathan, I noticed that you make some publications, especially on the ISPE. If you could, and I don't know, I didn't understand, but I saw on your LinkedIn profile that you have a position or something in ISPE as a vice president of something. I don't know, actually. If you could tell us more about your publications and the experience with ISPE.
Sure, absolutely. So that position, that VP position, vice president, is an old position, and I guess I've not quite figured out how to change it so that it's not on there. But I did back in 2009 to 2016.
How old are you, Nathan? By the way, sorry.
So I'm 46 years old.
Okay, I'm 46 and I'm 28 years old, so you are younger than me, of course. Okay, continue.
No. So I was a part of ISPE for quite some time, but what I did was I involved myself in the local chapters. I'm not sure if you have You have chapters of ISPE where you are?
I don't think so, no. In
Okay.
Africa, no. No. Not in Africa.
So, ISPE, we're over here in the States, we have different chapters based on different regions that
Yes.
are, I don't know, very popular for pharmaceutical, right? So we have, we have a chapter up in the Boston area, Massachusetts. We have, down in the DC, Washington, DC area. We have down south and then out west on the California side. So there's different chapters in different areas of the United States. So, and each of these chapters require volunteers to run them. None of us that are in the chapters are paid. Only the main ISPE organization has people that get paid as a job. Well, all the chapters are run by volunteers.
Okay.
So I volunteered for many years and helped out with the chapter, and then got to the point where I was doing so much and for the chapter that I was able to be elected to be on sit on the board, the board of directors for that chapter.
Okay.
And then a year or two later, they had an opening for a vice president of the chapter. So I put my name in and was voted. So I was a vice president for several years after that.
Yes, I see.
Mhm.
Yeah. No, we don't have something like that in Egypt or in Africa. I don't know about the Middle East, but I have no information. But I'm sure that we don't have this in Egypt. But
Okay.
for about your publications, then in Network Magazine, Temperature Mapping, Lab Manager Magazine, and finally the ISPE Temperature Chambers Commissioning Qualification. I want to hear from you a lot in this topic because it's I feel like you have a very, very, very good experience in temperature mapping. If you could tell us more about this guideline from ISPE.
Sure. So I'll start with since we were talking about ISPE. ISPE puts out, as you know, guidelines, good practice guidelines that help us in the industry, whether it's commissioning qualification, whether it's computer system validation, whether it's cleaning validation. They have these guides that are written by experts in the industry. Well, one of them was the temperature mapping guide, and that needed a revision. There was old, outdated information in the first one, and so that document came up again for revision, and I was asked to be a part of that team. So myself and many other colleagues around the globe, actually, we participated in revamping that document from every single chapter. We each got different chapters. We had different sections. So it took about a year.
A year?
Yes, it took about a year.
Wow.
To go through each chapter. We had to have meetings. We had to, after, let's just say we got everything written and we were happy with it, we had to send it out to the public and get industry review. So someone like yourself could have got the document and looked at it and made all sorts of comments, and then we had to answer these comments. So it took quite some time.
Before the publishing, right?
Yes, before it published, yes.
Yes,
Yep.
yes.
So we did that, and of course now it's published and it's out now for a couple years. So we're proud about that.
Yes.
But in
You
addition
should
to
be.
that, yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
In addition to that, I write for different magazines. For example, one is Lab Manager magazine, and that is a publication that basically is geared to lab managers. Folks that are running lab equipment, whether it's benchtop equipment or it's monitoring equipment, but it's geared towards those lab research managers. And I've written articles in there about validation, how to effectively streamline your validations. I've written articles about calibration. because some folks don't realize that they can go outside to a calibration consultant company and get services provided that are on the calibration, the preventative maintenance side of things. And then, of course, my most recent article, which is out there now, it's a temperature mapping article for Lab Manager magazine. So I try to write as much as I can and be involved in as much as I can, and promote, the temperature mapping, the validation, the compliance type information. And I'll tell you that it catches the eyes of folks like yourself. But what also happens is younger individuals that are trying to get into the industry, right?
Yes.
They come across some information, they come across maybe a post of mine or something, and they'll ask questions, and they'll want to know information on, I'm getting into the industry. What do I write in a SOP? How do I write a protocol? Or I was just tasked with the warehouse mapping at my facility. Where do I start? They don't know.
What is your advice, Nathan? What is your advice for those individuals who will start their career as a fresh graduates in validation field? What is your advice? Especially those who work in pharmaceutical companies. What is your advice?
So my advice would be to get to know as much as you can about the regulations that are in your area. All right. What guidelines are you required to follow? And what you need to do is research and learn as much as you can about that. What you also want to do is you want to get connected with social media. Go on LinkedIn or what have you, and find those industry individuals like myself that you can follow, and you can learn from that as well. You want to also go to those industry companies like ISPE or WHO, or maybe even USP, PDA. You want to go to these types of organizations and try to gain as much information from them regarding what you're looking to get into, whether it's temperature mapping or whether it's computer system validation, whatever it is you're working on or looking to get into. You want to get as much information. Just research, just read and learn. And the best way that I do it is I go out, and if I'm asked a question, Mohammed, if you ask me a question about a certain topic, I'm not going to just give you an answer and push you off to the side. And okay, here's your answer. Thank you. Good day. I'll research it for you. I'll look it up. I'll figure it out. I'll try to get you the best answer that could help you, so that you could actually walk away and say, okay, I actually have some action items here I can actually use. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Thank you a lot, Nathan. Thank you a lot for this episode, for the acceptance of my invitation. Absolutely. I really appreciate that, and I'm very, very glad that you accept to talk with me and to be with me here in ValiHub podcast. Thank you a lot, and I wish you all the luck and success in your life, actually.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, and I'm glad that you reached out and that we're able to do this.
Thank you a lot. Thank you a lot. Well, thank you for joining us today on ValiHub podcast. It was a pleasure to hear from Nathan Roman and learn from his valuable insights on validation. We appreciate all of you for hearing us. Please share it with your friends and leave us a comment on LinkedIn or Facebook. Stay tuned for our next episode. Until next time, take care. Thank you so much, Nathan. Thank you a lot.
Thank you. See you next time.
See you.